Do you really think the United States is gonna blow up Chinese ships? Do you really think that the United States is gonna blow up ships carrying energy, oil and gas towards China on Chinese vessels in order to pressure Iran? Is the United States willing to start World War III to pressure Iran? This blockade that Trump announced is not gonna work. It's not gonna work because the United States would be stupid to risk World War III. Would it really start World War III? Would it really attack Chinese vessels and mess with China's oil supplies? I don't think so. In this video, I'm gonna explain why this stupid blockade is not gonna work, why Iran is not gonna give up, why Iran feels strengthened, and why it wouldn't cave and accept America's demands. Let's start the video. So the ceasefire that went into effect April 7th basically laid the groundwork for negotiations, the negotiations that took place in Pakistan, in Islamabad recently. Islamabad has positioned itself as a sort of a neutral broker between the United States and Iran, having relationships, good relationships with both countries. Pakistan as Iran's neighbor, makes sense that they would try to at least maintain good relationships with their neighbors, even though they had a bit of a skirmish not that long ago. And Pakistan has had good relationships with the United States for a long time now, since Pakistan was supported by the United States during the Cold War, while India was supported by the Soviet Union. So Pakistan was in the right position to be able to organize these talks. From the beginning, experts didn't really expect that something substantial can come out of these talks. No one expects some big result to be announced, because what the United States wants and what Iran wants is they're so far removed from each other. They're living in two different realities. The United States expects Iran to give up its nuclear enrichment capabilities, give up its ballistic missile capabilities. The only thing that Iran is effectively using right now to defend itself, while Iran feels like it's winning, and so it doesn't feel like it should give up anything. And so these talks were doomed to fail, basically. And after 21 hours of negotiations, J.D. Vance came out, held a press conference, and well, let's see what he has to say actually. Let's look at him quickly and then I'll go on.
The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. Yeah,
so they didn't reach an agreement, and Trump, J.D. Vance left after 21 hours, which is so surprising, because the JCPOA, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, took more than 2 years to negotiate, more than 2 years. But the Trump administration, his delegation led by J.D. Vance and Jared Kushner and Trump's golf buddy, expected to do this within 24 hours. They expected to go in and Iran just to cave and accept all of America's demands, and that would be the end of it, even though Iran is still standing and in a way it's winning. That doesn't make any sense. So they left disappointed, or maybe, I don't know if they were disappointed. I'm sure they also knew that Iran wasn't just gonna give up and cave. Like, that's not how stuff works. So we're now moving closer and closer and closer to some sort of ground invasion of Iran. At least, let's give Pakistan credit where credit's due. They really, both parties are so far away, so far removed from each other, but they still managed to get both to sit down at the table and negotiate. That's, good job Pakistan. That's incredible. And apparently it's Asim Munir, the army chief, like the most powerful person in Pakistan right now, according to what the experts say. I have no idea. He's the one that has great relationships with the IRGC in Iran and with Trump personally. So it makes sense that he was able to organize this. And only a couple of hours after it was announced that negotiations didn't lead anywhere, Trump came out with this tweet announcing that the United States would blockade the Strait of Hormuz. And initially I was surprised. I was like, what? What is he talking about? Blockade the Strait of Hormuz? So I looked at what the experts say, the Iran experts and the geopolitical experts, because I'm not an expert in any of this. I follow this daily. I read about this stuff hours every day, but I cannot claim that I'm an expert. So I looked at what the experts had to say, and I still didn't get it because it just doesn't make any sense. That was my conclusion after a short while. So I get what Trump is trying to achieve. So Iran blockaded the Strait of Hormuz in order to keep everyone in the Gulf from exporting any energy, while it kept exporting with elevated prices. So the blockade made sure prices rose, and Iran could benefit since it was the one blockading the strait, and it could still let its own ships go to China and to India to export its energy. So Iran was growing filthy rich from this blockade. Well, I might be a bit exaggerating, but it was earning more than it made before the war. And so Trump's administration was expecting that this blockade would also cut off that source of funding for the Iranian regime, which does make sense. Until that point, I can follow the logic, and it does make sense. Starve them of their resources and they will give up. Well, there's two reasons why that's not going to work. First of all, Iran is fighting for its very existence. After Trump threatened to wipe out the whole civilization, the country is basically consolidated around the regime. It's fighting for its survival. It's not going to give up anytime soon. It's winning. Winning being or the regime surviving, and it's still having the capability to hit other countries in the region and bases in the region. And what Trump probably didn't think about is that most of the oil that Iran exports is heading to China in Chinese vessels. So what is the United States going to do? Is it going to blow up Chinese vessels carrying oil to China? They're basically declaring war on China at that point. That's not going to happen. I don't see them blowing up Chinese ships. What about the environmental disaster that would result in an attack on such vessels? Like it doesn't make any sense to me how they would risk all of that. World War III, fighting against China, starting a war with China, and the environmental disaster that would follow from blowing up those tankers. So I don't see this blockade working in any way, and Iran has a lot of leverage. It could still blockade the Bab el-Mandeb, where 13% of the world's energy or oil supplies flow through. It can blockade it through the Houthis, who can just attack a couple of ships and no one would dare to pass through that strait anymore. So Iran still has a lot of leverage, and it can still escalate much further. It can attack the terminals, the export terminals in the Gulf, the LNG terminals, the oil terminals. It can attack production facilities in the region. There's a lot of ways Iran can escalate. I don't see them doing that now unless their own facilities are attacked. And that would just collapse, make the world economy collapse into some sort of, I don't know what goes beyond a depression, like a hyper depression. I don't see that happening. And so this blockade, in my opinion, is not going to work. But this is the next move on the chessboard by the United States. It's now Iran's turn to make a move. let's see what Iran comes up with. But Iran has, since it's fighting for its very existence, it has time on its side. America, the United States, or the Republicans specifically, are in an election year. The longer this takes to resolve, the longer gas prices stay elevated, and the more the electorate is going to try to get rid of Trump and the Republicans, basically. And if the Republicans lose both the House and the Senate, there's a chance that Trump would get impeached. There's this doesn't make any sense. The United States is not shouldn't want to let this go on any longer. Iran can survive. It has survived 50 years of sanctions, of crippling North Korea level sanctions. It'll survive this too. So let's see what Iran comes up with. But in my opinion, this stupid blockade is not gonna result in any major changes in Iran's position. But the good thing is, at least, it looks like there's signs that there will be a new round of talks between the United States and Iran. Again, I don't see those talks leading anywhere. I don't see Iran changing its position. I don't see the United States all of a sudden back down. I think the best thing that can come out of these talks is an extension of the ceasefire. At least, let's just hope that both parties recognize that no one wins in an extension of the war. No one wins if innocent civilians die in Iran. No one wins if more energy infrastructure is struck in the Gulf. So I hope that at least the 14-day ceasefire is extended with another month, or enough for the global economy to hurt to such a degree that the United States will back down. That's my hope, at least. Because no one wins in this war. Literally no one wins. Israel was the only one that might have won if Iran's regime collapsed. But that's not happening. So no one is winning. Iran is winning. It's gaining a lot of power. It's going to come out of this war much stronger than anyone expected, even though it will need years to rebuild after everything that has been destroyed. But let's see what Iran's next move is going to be. I'll end it right here. And as soon as there's any other major developments, I'm gonna report back. So see you in the next one.